Hello and welcome back to week 3 of exploiting web applications and how the bad guys are making that paper, right? So, Zach Roof here, securingthestack.com. So stoked to have you back, okay? So let's go through our next thought exercise. Premise: you are creating an online voting feature, okay? You can upvote, downvote. The individual with the highest percentage of positive votes wins. How could your code be exploited? Just take a second to think about it. A couple of them might be a little bit more obvious than others. Okay? Attacks. All right, these ones are fairly obvious. Give yourself a bunch of positive votes. Give your competition many negative votes. Now here's the one that's next. All right, let's just get to it. Create your user at the last second and give it one positive vote. 100% baby, right? 100% positive. So while you need to think about, obviously, as you're coding, all types of these 3 ways of kind of exploiting your logic, the ones that are usually the most gruesome are kind of these, right? And that's what you really, when you're thinking, about these types of issues while you're coding, it's always important to, okay, cover your bases, do the first 2, but always question yourself, what is that real big edge case that I'm not thinking about, but probably the attackers are thinking about, okay? And because these are the ones that usually are totally left wide open, okay, to people coming in. So what's the profit to this? How are the bad guys making that paper? Marketing exposure, right? For winning the competition. All right? So here, all right, stuff's starting to get a little more devious, all right? So let's do this. So you need to create a shopping cart, and you can't allow multiple people to purchase the same item at one time. All right, so think of like an airline seat, right? So you need to create a lock for a period of time to prevent purchases of the same seat. This is just another thing that you need. It's part of the business requirements that you're given. The lock, all right, occurs before the payment information is given. That makes sense. How could this be exploited? Okay, just think about it for a second. All right, here's the attack. Okay, so create multiple headless browsers to reserve all of the seats on a given flight. Okay, like I said, this is bad. All right, and while not purchasing. Okay, once the seat holding timeout has lapsed, respawn with a new IP via AWS. Rinse and repeat. All right, it's kind of crazy. They've actually seen that some pretty big airlines are actually have been vulnerable to these types of things, and well, so some of you might be thinking, okay, well that's just for the attacker that just clearly just wants to screw up stuff, right? Where's the profit? Well, profit. If you're a competitor, you just got more business. The locked out customers need somewhere to go, right? So that's the big deal. And we really need to think about these things. And it can get pretty nasty, as you're seeing. Now, what are the bad guys saying when this is going on? Money doesn't grow on trees? False, man. Hey, money is paper. I love this. I love the conviction in his eyes. That's awesome. Sorry, I just crack myself up sometimes. All right, so the bad guys are saying this. Well, what is your boss saying to you when these types of loopholes are open? Where's my money? Where's it? I love this cat, man. Oh, man, poor guy. Oh, that's awesome. All right, so let's go into our final thought exercise. All right. premise. You're creating questions to verify an individual for a sensitive account, say a bank account, cell phone, etc. One question is, the question that you're designing at this given moment is, in the following list, all right, this is the actual question itself. In the following list, what brand of car have you owned, right? So then you need to create, you obviously have a right answer, and then you need to create some wrong answers, okay? And so for the wrong answers, you place every car brand in an array and randomly select a few as the decoys. I know in real life, I mean, you probably use another different type of way to do it than put all these things in an array, but the idea behind kind of the exploit is the same, so you'll see that in a second. All right, I'm just saying this for simplicity purposes. Okay. How could your random decoy logic be exploited? All right. Let's just think about it, because it's really easy when you're coding to see the word, oh, I'm randomizing. All right. And you're like, and you just have this mental model of, oh, randomization. That means I'm secure, right? And we'll see. So this is what can happen. This actually was a Sprint. This is the Sprint case study. You can check it out. Flawed security lets Sprint accounts get easily hijacked. This was one of the questions. Okay, which of the following vehicle makes has been registered at the following address? A Lotus, a Honda, Lamborghini, Fiat, or none of the above. Okay, well, probably you could just probably easily deduce that it's either Honda or none of the above. Okay, and it's even worse because it has an address, so you can kind of look at what type of area it's in and maybe the different types of populations that live there, etc. But so, geez, I mean, that's bad. But see, the thing is in your code, when you test your code, it obviously might not look like this, right? It's random, right? So it's a little bit more difficult to define that, okay? Now, the attack, as we said, is, hey, your random decoys aren't representative of the population, all right? And people just use some common logic to circumvent that. Now, here's the thing. What's the profit? Well, I'll paraphrase what's in small text. This was actually put under a bunch of the where all those questions were just shown, like the one that included the question set, the overarching question set that you that last question was pulled from, had this attached to it. This anti-fraud tool has been used by numerous industries as well as the federal government. Okay, so obviously, what do I got to say? Enough said. I mean, that's one of those things, and it even talked about how random it was. You know, well, it's random enough, but not relative to a normal population. Okay. So, what's the point? Okay, was this talk only about exploiting web apps? All right. Well, I think the emphasis just a lot in our community is really how to think like a developer. That's what's important. That's why so many of us can easily pivot between programming languages and such. Is once you get the thought set, or the thought process behind being an efficient, effective developer, it doesn't really matter where you go, right? And that's what I love, kind of taking this into account. Okay, just in all of my learning. Okay, but my take on that quote above is really, I think, really about being a really effective developer, right, in multiple ways, is just about cultivating an awareness, right? And that's not just to security, but to your standing in the tech community in general, all right? And let's go ahead and So I was involved in a boot camp, so to speak. That was where I did some coding, and we had a demo day. And about 3 or 4 days before my demo day, my application was blowing up. And we went to go see a very large figure in the tech community here named Tom Wilson. We actually went to the company that he owns, Jack Russell Software, as kind of like a visit. and or a field trip, okay? And I asked Tom, I'm like, hey, can I ask you this question? It was about Node, and my application was basically, there was kind of a memory leak, and it was, pretty much crashing after 3 days. Or I mean, I'm sorry, it was crashing, and we were a couple of days out to the demo day, and it was happening after like a minute or something like that. So Tom couldn't speak at that moment, which is totally understandable. He's a busy guy, but he said, give me an email. So I emailed him, and wow, within, I don't know, 15 minutes, I had a 3-page response giving me just kind of a way of maybe how I should approach the problem. I stayed up all night solving that, doing exactly kind of what he said, and it worked, right? I went to demo day. I met a recruiter at the place that we demoed at and ended up getting getting a position, right? So I really am very thankful for Tom for helping me there. But after that happened, I vowed to give back when I was comfortable in my knowledge, right? Because individuals like Tom, and other people in the community have done this for many people. And, there's a time when I knew that it was, kind of that there was going to be a place in my career where I needed to take, my giving to another level, right? And this chat, this whole exploiting web apps, like this overarching kind of module, is my first step. Okay, and honestly, doing other things like speaking in the community about these types of things and securing the stack and all this. This is all part of my way to give back. Okay, and I want to leave you with this: is thinking about what are your strengths, right? Maybe that could be teaching. Maybe it's documenting, right, for an open source project, okay? There's so many ways that you can just be of service, all right? Now, what's my challenge, right? When the time's right, start that leg of your journey as a developer. And I really challenge you on that, and I hope to potentially hear your stories, about, what kind of things that you have done. And that inspires me. And that's why I'm bringing this up. I know this is a little bit of a tangent outside of this lecture, but I honestly think that the community and giving back, is the most powerful part of the development community. So I thought that I would just put it here, just as kind of food for thought. So anyways, thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next week.